want you to think back to the time where something drastically changed in your life for the better. Just think of a time when that happened. Because here's what I can tell you. There was a collision that happened before the change occurred. Typically, the collision starts in our mind. We get introduced to a new idea, new insight, new strategy, new tip, a new way of thinking. And that opens the doorway to actually being able to see something better for ourselves, whatever that is. But the problem is that if we don't choose to step through that door once it's become visible to us, then we're unable to reap the fruits of the change that happens once you step through that doorway. Which brings me to what we're talking about today, which is if you are unable to collide, you will be unable to provide. Whatever it is that you want to provide for yourself, your family, your team, if you're unwilling to collide with the results you're not getting, with the thoughts and thought patterns, with what you're saying, how you speak, how you're communicating, your actions that you're taking, and whatever it is that you're seeing in your mind as far as visualizing the future. You've got to collide with that first in order for a door to appear, which is a possibility. So I want to tell you a quick story about how my first collision that just came to mind when I started thinking about this concept is my financial situation. We were paycheck to paycheck, more month left at the end of the money, every week, every month, every year, never enough. And I always say when the pain of change becomes less than the pain of staying the same, that's when you'll change. Well, I got to a point where I had this collision. I realized that the reason I was where I was because of the actions, what I said or didn't say, or what I did or did not do, was the result of me getting where I'm at. And where I was at sucked. Broke, busted, and burnt out. But as I continued to increase my knowledge and increase my awareness that the reason I was where I was because of the decisions that I made or had not made up to this point in life. Especially when it came to my finances. Sorry about the light there. So first I had the collision in my mind. I thought, you know what? I'm not going to fucking do this anymore. I'm not going to keep living paycheck to paycheck. This is bullshit. And it's no way to live. So once I had that realization and I collided with it in my mind and started to realize that the way I was living, I was creating. And once I realized that, I realized I was the one who had the power to change it. That I no longer had to live this way. This was a choice that I was fucking making. Every payday, every month, these were choices that I was making to live this way. I mean, we made money. We made money. I had a job. At the time, my wife had a job. We made money. We were choosing to live that way. And it was a hard fucking realization. To look at yourself in the mirror and just accept that the reason you are where you are is because of the fucking shit that you were doing. So when I had this realization, I collided with it in my mind, but then I had to, so there's an internal collision and then an external collision, because once you collide with it in your mind and you wrestle with it for a while, once you choose to step through that doorway, that's where you step into the external world. And when you step into the external, the first person that I had to have this collision with was with my wife, because I was just as guilty as she was just as guilty as I was in our spending habits. But I had to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm not going to step over this line anymore. I'm not going to continue to live this way. And once I decided I wasn't going to continue to live this way, now the real challenge was I had to convince her that we don't want to fucking live this way anymore. And in the past, anytime we collided when it came to money, we fought. So I knew I was in for a fight. But I also knew I wasn't willing to turn back. I wasn't willing to continue down the road that we'd been traveling, because I already knew where that fucking road ended. Because I was already there. I was already at the end of the fucking road. So I made a choice. I decided to collide. And that's when things changed. And I look back and I realize all the times that I had to make collisions with my health, with my business, with my thoughts and thought patterns. Every single time, the harder the collision, the bigger the outcome, the bigger the result, the closer that I got to what it is that I actually wanted in life. So I'm going to challenge you. You've got something going on. Something that you know needs to change, but you're not fucking changing it. I want to challenge you to collide with it. Collide with it in your mind. Wrestle with it. You already know what it is that you need to do or what needs to change. Wrestle with it. Pin that motherfucker down. And then comes the hard part, the external collision. You got to do it. Whether shit's not going right in your business, whether shit's not going on right with your health, whether shit's not going right with your thoughts, you got to collide with it. It's the only way things will change. And when you collide with it, there's a ripple effect. Once you change, the people around you begin to change. In a positive way. So collide with it. Make your choice. Because it's a choice. Every fucking day it's a choice. I'm going to keep living like this way, or I'm going to change. So make your change. Make your move. Go make money. Boom.